So yeah, every now and again you will hear about someone who, you know, just all of a sudden just drops down in the street. You know, just some, you know, people like you said, we've got so advanced today where people even create. Like you've got people that unfortunately, you know, of course, you know, it's quite a scary thing to, you know, to think about really, with chemical warfare, where people literally sometimes get touched. You know what I mean? Literally, and something gets absorbed into their body, you know, into their body through their pores or something, and literally that's it. That person has touched them and, you know, infected them with some kind of solution that is, you know, deadly, some kind of poison.
There's a guy, because we live not far away from Salisbury.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And there's a guy and his daughter, wasn't there? I think he came from Russia or something, but he's some sort of looked at as some sort of spy or something.
Something, yeah.
But he had this just a tiny bit of poison or something, and it nearly really killed him, you know.
I can't remember exactly. Was it? Did they put it on his door handle or something?
Something like that, you know.
I can't remember exactly what it was.
But he only had a small, you know, it's deadly, this stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Did he die?
And
or
it's
did
very
he survive?
rare.
I can't remember. Did he die in the end or did he survive?
No, he survived it.
I think he survived. I thought he survived.
I don't know how, you know, because he was blue and everything, you know. He was absolutely poisoned by just one tiny little touch of this stuff.
Exactly,
you know?
So deadly.
And this stuff was apparently sort of really, really difficult to make, apparently.
Yeah.
I think, you know.
Yeah.
So, I mean, some people are looking into that kind of thing, you know. There's groups of people around the world who are actually sort of doing research on what they already know about chemicals, if you sort of mean.
But when usually these things happen, you can usually tell that it's by someone who's kind of like an expert, essentially, someone who's almost like a trained assassin, if you know what I mean, like a hitman, or hit person.
Yeah.
It could be a woman too. You never know, you know. But those type of people are usually people who are trained in that kind of, you know.
But the other thing is, you know, we got, you know, like for instance, cameras. Talk about cameras because they've moved on, haven't they?
Yeah, yeah.
Like how, I mean, I as I say, I've lived quite a few decades now, you know, and I've seen the camera world evolve completely.
Yeah.
Where a long time ago, you'd have to, you know, buy a camera and put films in it and then get it done in a special shop and all that. It was a bit of a problem seeing your photographs, but today we've gone into the digital photograph, you know, and these digital cameras, you know, where you zoom up to something and you can get so close to something.
Yeah.
And not just that, we see sort of like insects closer than ever before under the microscope.
Yeah.
Even the microscopes are getting better.
Yeah.
And even underneath on the water cameras, you know, waterproof cameras that go underneath water. The ocean we really don't know much about, really, you know, but now we're starting to learn, I feel, you know, for the first time. This decade, I feel we're learning more about under the ocean than we ever have done before.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? Because of camera technology.
Yeah.
You know, because you don't have to take a human underneath a submarine or something. You can put cameras on it and do a remote control underneath water, and they can go quite deep down.
Yeah.
So, you know, I feel like in the next decade we're going to learn more about underneath the water. You know, they'll probably sort of put artificial intelligence even underneath the oceans, if you sort of mean.
Probably. I think that's the only way that man will ever fully be able to explore the depths of the ocean and everything else.
We are doing that today.
But they think they've only roughly mapped out about 5% of the world's. That's what they estimate anyway. That's what they've said anyway. These people themselves, you know. People know we know so very little.
Yeah.
About the ocean, you know.
Yeah, but I think, like as I say, in the last, say, 20 years or so, I feel maybe we just got so advanced. With, with like camera technology for one, microphone as well, whatever, you know.
Yeah.
And we can go underneath the sea, you know,
with submarines,
machines, and we're going to discover much more than we ever done. You know,
Yeah.
once they, because they make the little submarines, you know, now. You know, I've seen them, you know, but they probably make them even better today. You know what I mean?
Well, one was
actually go underneath water and they're remote control, you know, and they're filming everything.
One of those was in the news not long ago, wasn't it? submarine
right,
with a billionaire and some of his, the other people, his son and a couple of other people died, didn't they?
Yeah.
They went down to see the Titanic wreck, I think, or something, supposedly.
Well, it's dangerous going underneath. It's dangerous. I wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't risk my life. I mean, be honest with you, going underneath the water is just like going up in a rocket into space.
Yeah.
I think, like, if you go into a rocket into space and you come out of the rocket, say, out of the whatever, because I think in a rocket they're probably letting out air conditioning and oxygen inside of it, whatever, I don't know, do you know what I mean? But once you go out to the rocket, and if you didn't wear a space suit to protect you, it's just like water in a kind of way. But the difference is, if you go underneath water, the deeper you go down, the heavier it's going to get.
This might sound crazy to you, right, mate? But I personally believe that the ocean is a part of outer space. I believe there's some kind of connection there, mate. I believe there is life forms that exist, mate, in the oceans that we have no idea about. I'm talking about intelligent life forms.
Possible. This is going deep now.
This is getting deep, but I honestly...
This is going beyond, this is going deeper than artificial intelligence itself.
Yeah, but I believe, that somehow the ocean's connected with outer space. It's the same, they say as above, so below, and there's water above, and there's water below. And it's funny because even in the Bible it talks about that, in Genesis, where it talks about the firmament and all these things, the dome, the firmament, and the waters, the waters above and the waters below. So I think there's some kind of connection there. I'm not going to say that I'm a big expert on that. I know a lot about conspiracies and all sorts of other shit. I'm not.
Just in the Bible.
I won't.
Just in the Bible and all that.
But that is in the Bible. The whole thing of the waters above and the waters below and the firmament. Let's talk about that. That's why a lot of people talk about flat Earth and all these kind of different theories and things. And that's where that comes from, essentially. That idea. Not only that, but obviously there was, before heliocentrism, there was something called geocentrism, which was, the Earth is flat, if you see what I mean.
Yeah.
But heliocentrism is to do with the sun, if you see what I mean. The Earth being round in the sun and all this type of shit. Because obviously helios means sun, if you see what I mean, Greek for sun.
I personally believe the Earth's like a ball.
Yeah, but
I believe the moon's like a ball.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm not talking about that now. But what I was trying to say is that
that's how it works in my brain, anyway. But and I look at like the ocean's not always been on this planet. I think this is how I look at it. A long time ago, millions of years ago, maybe billion, I don't know. This planet used to be very hot.
Yeah.
It used to be volcanic everywhere, whatever. All a bit of thunder outside.
Yeah.
Right, but and it's impossible. Water has evaporated. Do you know what I mean? There's no ocean. That's what I look at. And then slowly the Earth cooled down, and then the little icicle particles come out of space. That's what I think. Space is full of icicle particles. It's a cold place. It's cold. And once this planet cooled down, basically, water droplets started. But maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Maybe the plants started making the oxygen in the water.
Yes.
So I'm not saying I'm correct, alright, but there's many different theories about how this come about, this planet in a kind of way,
Yeah.
I mean, it's quite incredible, really, because you've got this planet, alright, and it's got lots of different mountains on it, different rivers, right, but the funny thing is, it's got sand, deserts, but the funny thing is, all these materials inside the Earth, whether it's gold, mercury, silver, man has pulled it out of the Earth and made what we've got today. We've done this with our hands, but we've actually controlled electric by making circuit boards and silicon chips, but without all these materials from the Earth, like glass for instance, that's sand, isn't it? Melted sand and silicon or something. And now we've got double glazing everywhere, but all these materials have actually come from the earth itself. You know, it's like batteries. You know, and
Yeah, uranium.
and
Yeah.
all these chemicals that are actually in this planet are very useful to human in one way or another.
But you know what
they
is
make plastic out of it.
what is sad though today, right, mate? Though, is when you see the images of these people who are working in these mines.
Yeah.
And stuff.
But they don't see any daylight, do they?
And well, not only that, but these people who are literally, these people are, you know, what they sell it for, and what these people who buy it and sell it for, you know, these people are taken advantage of heavily. If you see what I mean, they're not correctly compensated and paid correctly for their, you know, for what, you know, what their country naturally produces and they're exporting. If you see what I mean, these people, you have these large companies taking, you know, that are, you know, especially these large technologies companies that are, you know, that need all these, you know, minerals and stuff to make their products essentially. You know,
I mean, they get
chips and their phones.
Today they use lots of big machines doing it, don't they? You know,
yeah.
And I say the machines that they build, they can cut up rocks today.
Yes.
And they can do all kinds of stuff. They make rocks into dust. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's incredible. The machine. I mean, look at the what do you call it? The tunnel. What's it? The French tunnel.
Oh yeah.
You know,
the Euro tunnel.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, like
that's amazing.
Well, the machine that they built a machine to dig a tunnel underneath it. Do you know what I mean? And that, if you have a look at that machine, it's quite a beast.
Yeah.
You sort of, I mean, it must have taken a few years to build.
Oh, you can imagine. You can imagine.
You know, they must have. I don't know. It's a lot of metal work and all. You know
but that's the side of all this type of stuff that really interests me. To be honest, is the engineering side of it. You know, and not only that, but how they came up with the plan in order to do it. If you see what I mean, to build a tunnel that goes under the water. If you see what I mean.
Cuts through rocks.
You know, do you know what I mean?
Machine,
it goes
like a drill.
This tunnel goes thousands of miles. If you see what I mean. You know, it's just like that. It's incredible. Like, you know, where do you start? Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, who's in charge of that project?
Yeah, can you imagine sort of someone coming up to you and say, look, I've got lots of money, billions of pounds. I'll give you £1 million if you design this machine for me to cut through.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
I'm not going to take on things. I've got the brain for that one. Thank you.
Yeah.
You know,
sorry,
but no, you get a lot of money, wouldn't you? And you'd employ the best people, I suppose.
Engineers.
You know, the best engineers to start working on how to build this machine. You know, and people work together in the office day by day. You know, 8 hours a day, maybe overtime or whatever. You know, and come up with what they come up with.
Yeah.
You know. And then once they make such a machine, they're still working on it to make it even better next time they use it. If you see what I mean. We just get more advanced every decade, don't we? You know.
Yeah, we do.
And we're not going to. I don't feel like we're going to stop there. You know, I mean, I can see pictures, and I think anyone can. You know, we can go back and look at black and white films from the 19th century and see how things were then. You know, how the cars were back then.
Yeah.
And just every decade, alright, cars change.
Yeah.
A little bit, you know.
Because like we were talking about earlier, like today we've got self-driving cars.
Yeah.
Autonomous cars, where like Tesla and a few other companies that have designed these cars that can potentially.
Artificial intelligence, really, isn't it? Again?
That's what it is. You know, it's driving itself. You know, you can put a certain location in or certain, you know, coordinates into a program, and it will literally take you to that destination.
Yeah, well, we've got sat navs now, you know, and all that kind of stuff, technology. So these cars can pick up on this.
Follow a route.
Follow these, you know. I don't know how. You know, I mean, personally, if someone, you know, like a taxi pulled up, but it didn't have no driver, I programmed it to go somewhere. My heart would be beating all the way. Do you know what I mean? I'd be going.
Yeah.
I wouldn't get in. Do you know what I mean? I don't think. You know, because I just feel that you just need humans to drive the thing. You know, for goodness sake, because I know humans make mistakes, but
yeah, I prefer that. Yeah.
But I just don't know whether I can trust some sort of
technology.
Yeah, to
take me to and from.
Yeah, I don't feel like I feel like my life would be more.
It's
at risk.
it's like relying on a robot to drive the train. How come I think personally, like you said, I personally prefer a human to be driving the train. You know what I mean? Because who knows what could go wrong.
I think like train drivers, right? They just press a button and it goes.
Yeah.
And then they got a speed thing.
Yes.
And they don't have to steer it, do they?
No.
You know, so
yeah.
it is kind of automatic, and I think they just have to sort of like press a button to stop it when the red's light.
Yeah, and obviously, like you said, they have to adjust the speed.
So personally, I think it's really, really easy to drive a train, you know, and it is kind of automatic because you don't, you know, there's no driving involved really, is there? You know, you don't have to steer it.
Yeah.
If you sort of mean. You know, where like aeroplanes, you know, sometimes they go on autopilot apparently, don't they?
Yeah.
Where the guy driving the plane, he can put his feet up and have a cup of tea.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm having a break.
They go to the toilet.
Putting on autopilot.
But they do, yeah. I remember like a few times that I've taken flights, because obviously when I was living in the Caribbean and that, sometimes I'd come back to the UK, and we take a few flights, you know, to and from from there to the UK and back and whatever. And yeah, I remember the pilots, you know, at times, being like, it's on autopilot now, it's, it's like, yeah.
I mean, I've travelled on a few planes, and it sort of scares me because I wouldn't want it. Do you know what I mean? If they said, "Oh, it's going on autopilot," I think, you know, I'd just get a bit nervous. Do you know what I mean? Like, oh my God, this plane is driving by itself. Do you know what I mean? And thinking for itself in a kind of way.
Bit nerve-wracking.
Yes, it's artificial intelligence, isn't it? Really, at the end of the day, I think.
Yeah.
And I don't think we can. You know, nobody can stop it.
No.
No one.
No. Because these people are too heavily invested in it, you know. And I definitely think transhumanism is a big thing, you know. It's definitely, I think, one of their agendas, you know. They want mankind, the next evolutionary step for mankind in their eyes is the merging of man with machine, you know. To almost essentially try to make man invincible, almost, you know.
Say they made they started making robots, right? And then you go and buy one, and they can kind of like put a mask on it, make it look like you.
Yeah.
And they can go do your job for you, you know.
That'd be cool. That'd be cool for sure.
Yeah.
For sure, depending on the price, of course.
Yeah. So you buy a robot for £1,000, and you know, put a face on it and go and do your job for you.
Well, it has to be programmed to do my job like me though as well too. That'd be the hard thing, if you see what I mean.
Exactly.
Because
you'd have to program it.
That'd be hard to program though, because how do you get something to do a job as efficiently as you'd want to do it? You get what I mean?
Yeah. It'd take a lot of program really, I think, to get a human being.
Like, I'm the type of person that I don't cut corners, you know what I mean? Like, I don't, I do my job to the best of my ability. I don't, I try.
Have you ever seen Red Dwarf? There's a robot on there.
Yeah.
I think what's his name? Crichton, his name is.
Okay.
And it's quite funny, you know, because he's a robot that likes being good, you know, and being serving the masters.
Okay.
You know, and he likes doing mopping the floors and just keeping busy and ironing, and you know.
Yeah.
But it's quite a funny program. That's all I can tell you. It's I'm surprised you've not watched it. Because it's well written. You know, and that's got like series about artificial intelligence too, in it. So
yeah. Well, I guess even series. Not that I ever watched much of it, to be honest. I'm not gonna lie. It was never really my cup of tea. Sci-fi when I was younger. So I never really watched much Star Trek or Star Wars. But I remember a lot of people saying to me that they remember seeing a lot of things in there, technology-wise, that ended up, 10, 15 years later, ended up becoming a reality.
Well, I want I want a great Star Trek fan.
Yeah.
But I can remember it coming out. You know what I mean? Because I'm that old, unfortunately. I think it came out when I was about 8 years old, maybe, or 9, or 10. I can't remember. It might have been black and white actually when it first came out. I can't remember, but I can remember watching it, and seeing these people being themselves from the spaceship to down the planet, you
Yeah.
know, and all that kind of stuff. But they also used to have like mobile phones in a funny way where they used to talk to each other, and they can communicate even if one was on the planet and one was in the spaceship and things, you know. And now we've got it, you know, and it's quite amazing, really. And I don't think people really appreciate it, really, what we've got.
No. Especially that people that, like you said, that are born in this, you know, that are young people, young teenagers now. If you see what I mean, they were born with it. If you see what I mean, they don't.
They don't know better,
No.
I suppose.
Wow.
Well, bit of action,
Yeah.
Weber action out here.
Yeah.
But electricity, you know, I think that is the thing, isn't it? The key to everything, really. You know, like I think, like man made electric, and they just made so many other things from electricity.
Of course.
So many. They know how to control electricity today.
But I was going to say the main thing too that came along with the electricity was the motor, wasn't it?
Yes.
Pretty much everything is motorised.
Yes.
Almost everything.
Yeah.
Has some kind of motor.
I think like Albert Einstein's dad was all to do with that. Okay. The motor, the electric motor, that is. And that's kind of like how I think like Albert Einstein got into science and all that.
Okay.
In a kind of way because of his father. But I think he was in with a company that was making motors.
Okay.
Electrical motors and all that. You know, so that electric motor, you know, that was a big step for mankind.
Yeah.
You know, so was making the wheel, you know. I mean, the wheel must have been discovered 5,000 years ago. Yeah. I don't know. And then they started using water, like rivers, to make mills, to turn wheels, to make clothing and things, you know. Yeah. And I think then they discovered the motor and electric, then the motor. And even with motors, they've gone mad, you know, they kind of on standing today. Yeah. You know, they've probably been testing them and making different ones and making bigger ones. I mean, motors got like thin copper. Yeah. Well, you know, the little ones have really thin copper, you know. It'd be impossible to do it manually. You know, no man would be able to do it. It's got to be done by machine, all this, you know what I mean? Yeah. How they can get machines to do, you know, make these motors, I don't know. That's beyond me. Yeah. You know, and
comes back down to engineers again.
Yeah.
These people that know about precision engineering and all these various different things, you know.
Yeah. And you know, like even the microchip, you know, they're making more powerful and more smaller.
Yeah, it's true.
You're talking about like what's it called? This new talking about artificial intelligence and all this, you know, they're talking about these new chips or something, dust or something, is it? Okay. But the chips are this small.
Yeah, they're like the grain of
dust.
Grain of rice.
That's why they call them dust.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Micro dust or something. It's amazing, really, how far we've gone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and how much further we're going to go.
Yeah, true. Yeah, it's true. Like I'm only 30 years old, so it'd be interesting to see what the world is like in another 20, 30 years when I'm 60.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, I think I'm going to be deaf and blind by then, you know, and I find it difficult to walk by then. Yeah. I think I'm going to try to keep strong.
Keep strong, mate. Yeah. I'll come and visit you a minute, don't worry. I'll come and visit you. But yeah, I hope that, you know, that we are wrong in regards to the, you know, the technology. Naturally, as human beings, we don't always embrace change that well. And sometimes we just, you know, sometimes people just have to go ahead and do things because it will benefit mankind in a great way, and sometimes people can't always see it initially, you know, and sometimes that does happen. sometimes people do create things and come up with really ingenious ideas and creations and different things, and sometimes it's too advanced. Society isn't ready for it. And yeah, I think sometimes we can be wrong. Sometimes people are scared or afraid of the unknown. What they're not, what they're not knowledgeable about, or not too aware about, or too sure of, if you see what I mean. And sometimes people just have to introduce things in order, for the benefit of mankind, and then people slowly accept things. Imagine if people never accepted the mobile phone. If you get what I'm saying.
Well, some people don't like it, but
I know, but imagine if people on the whole, maybe imagine if when all these companies were first trying to introduce mobile phones, and people said we don't want a mobile phone. Everyone just said we don't want a mobile phone. No one bought one. What the world would be like today, if you get what I'm saying, So, yeah, it's interesting.
Oh, well, I think like we're living in a world that people don't really need to go to work. They can work from home.
Yeah, for sure. People run businesses from their laptop, from their mobile, from their phone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like what you can do in the office, you can do at home.
It's the same thing for me too. Like even being an artist, like someone who makes music and that, like I can see all my data. I can see where I can literally check out. I've got different, like just for example, I've got Spotify for Spotify for artists. Let's say for example, and I can check all my data from there. It shows me where my music's being played, how often, what country, what city, everything. All the statistical data is on there. You see what I mean? So it's it's incredible. What you can use the internet for today.
So I feel like it's a learning tool. I mean, even if I didn't know how to cook an apple pie, it wouldn't take me long just to Google it here. You know what I mean?
Or YouTube,
and just see it.